So here is Fifi, and she is at the Tryon International, and we are in the 2-star short. So she's moved back up to the 2-star again, and really been working on her dressage and flat work, and she's really starting to move a lot freer and more forward. So here I'm preparing her for going down the center line. And she can have quite a bouncy trot. So the more forward and engaged I get her, the easier it is to sit. But I still have to work on my right leg tends to move a little bit more than I would like it. She stayed pretty straight down the center line. And sometimes with her, another thing I've been working on has been her kind of connection and steadiness in the connection. And sometimes she can get a little stiff through the rib cage and doesn't want to kind of bend and get as deep into the corners as I would like. So that's always a work in progress for her. But she's been very consistent, and so far she's doing really good here. I've got the leg yield, making sure the shoulder is leading. There I lost the haunches a little bit, but it was more so because I put her in a shoulder 4. But from this angle, it looks like the shoulders went past the center line, which for this test, I have 3 judges. So I have a judge at C, a judge at H, and a judge at B. And she was good for that second leg yield. And now across the diagonal for a lengthened trot. And again, she's getting more and more expressive in her gaits. And then very obedient for her walk transition. And I can always count on Fifi in the walk to really want to stretch out and have a nice relaxed walk. And so I'm working to get her back into my medium walk. And then we turn left and prepare for the halt, which is over the center line at the imaginary letter D. She's a good girl. We're almost perfectly square. And then pretty good for her rein back. Can still work on getting that to be a little bit more fluid, but I was pretty happy with how soft she was about that. And then preparing for the canter over the center line. A little bit of wiggle, but for the most part, she was pretty on cue. And now for a medium. And again, I have to work a little bit more with shoulder 4 for those. And working on her balance and getting her stronger and stronger. Now we cross the center line, and I have to give and retake the contact. And again, I could, in that corner, you could see I wasn't really able to bend her around the inside. She wanted to have a little bit of an outside bend. So that's some more homework that we have to do. And again, good in the canter transition. If I was picking at her, she maybe lifted her head a little bit. But again, she's feeling very rideable and trying, very hard. Again, for the medium canter down the long side, and she comes right back. Very rideable for that. And now going across the diagonal and giving the reins. I find that movement just a little bit bizarre for the 2-star, but it is what it is. Both my horses were good about it, and then we're finishing up coming down the center line into our halt. She kind of walked a step and got a little cricket at the end. But overall, I was really pleased with her laying down a very solid test. It scored a 33, which I thought it was a little bit better than that, honestly, but I was really, really pleased with Fifi. And on to show jumping. For Fifi here at Tryon, the warm-up area is quite small, so she can get pretty jazzed up here and in this ring. So it's always a bit of managing her a little bit. So she starts off a little bit on fire for that first line, and I'm just trying to get her to settle. And she's such a good, careful little jumper. But she is very quick, and it's a little bit of just letting her be so she can settle on her own and not kind of overriding her or anything like that. And trying to stay kind of out of her way while helping her balance, and because again, she likes to kind of drop the shoulder a little bit through the turns because she wants to kind of get to it. She's listening. You can see her ears flicking. And she hollowed out a little bit in the triple there over the vertical. So that's a note for me when we are at home to do a couple more gymnastics with the ox or vertical oxer to help her with that. She comes down the last line and jumps the last fence fantastic. And of course, it was one of the quicker rounds of the day, but I was really pleased with her. And now on to cross country. It's always been a work in progress for Fifi to get her to relax kind of in the gallop. She likes to go a little bit higher headed, but I found that she prefers to kind of not have any of the jingling of her running martingale or breastplate, and her saddle doesn't slip or anything. So I found that she does a little bit better with that, and she likes to kind of feel strong to the fences, so she's just going in a full cheek rubber snaffle. And again, through here, I could have taken an inside line there in front of that intermediate jump and kind of cut off some time, but I chose to kind of go the outside line to make sure, just to give her some time to read it. She's very powerful, very good up the bank and careful, and she was feeling very, very confident. And it was really nice to see her focusing forward with her ears and not worrying about me so much. So then coming to this next set where we go down the terrain and up to this combination, which could have gone in a 3-stride, but I opted to have her kind of wait and settle and do the 4. And she did that really well. So she was pretty quick. We ended up having 5 seconds over optimum time, but that still moved us up into 5th place. So another top 10 finish for Fifi in the 2-star.